it's recording. Welcome back to Talking with Teresa, or Acacia Natural Remedies and Acacia Readers, whatever we're calling it today. Just give me a second. I'm clearing the space for us. So the other day, I made a YouTube video about the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And I want to elaborate and kind of have more of an in-depth conversation with higher ordered thinking, higher consciousness. Now, this may come off as a bit of a rant. I'm hoping it doesn't. I took some notes, but not a whole lot. Because as you guys know, that when I do share something, is because that I've either had the pleasure of witnessing it in the astral, or it's something that I'm actually living through. And just know, when I cleanse my space and I'm waving here, it also cleanses your space. So I'm gonna have this cleanse. I'm hoping my smoke detector don't go off. If it does, then I'll pause for the cause. But it's important to clear space at this time because we have so much activity going on. I have my feather too. In the spirit realms and in the mental realms. So before we begin, I'm going to do a little more clearing. And this clears my space and yours. And as I'm clearing, I'm setting an intention that those who are supposed to view this, view it. No negativity comes to me or to them, and that clarity is brought forth through my words, through my body movement, and my body language. And so it is. Sorry if that was a tad bit loud. I am sitting a bit close to the computer. So the other day, what brought me to bring this transmission is the other day I was doing yoga. And I've been doing yoga for quite a while. And I was working on doing like the basic yoga where I'm correcting my form. So if I'm in downward dog, I'm like really correcting that downward dog, like shoulders down, back, and making sure I'm aligned. And when I finished the yoga, I heard the word in my over voice. It was my higher self say soteria. Now, I know the word soteria from the biblical standpoint when they talk about salvation. So I'm like, well, why am I getting, soteria, like doing yoga? Like what in the world is this talking about? So, excuse me, every time I do a transmission, my nose begins to itch, like all of this itches. So I'm like, why am I getting, soteria? I know I've been kind of dropping off on my yoga. I've been doing more working out, running and jogging to kind of align my chakras. So I'm like, well, this obviously means something. And then after I heard soteria, I then heard from my higher self, you are so beautiful. And I'm like, okay, what the heck is going on? So I went to Google and I looked up what the Hebrew version of soteria actually means. And so the Hebrew version of translation, of soteria means wholeness. So I was like, wholeness, okay. So I get it. I get where it's connecting. Then so again, I went back to the Bible, and soteria means, when Christ came and gave salvation. And so I went to the Hebrew word for salvation, which also means wholeness. So my mind is going, is thinking, and I said, well, why is it coming through yoga while I'm doing yoga? So I already know what yoga means. Yoga means union. It means to come into one. And since this year began, I've been battling with coming into balance, that masculine and that feminine side. It's always been one pulling or the other pulling, and it's been kind of a war between the two. And I've been able to not only hear it with my third ear, but also see it with my mind's eye. So, and again, this is in my innerverse. I'm able to see the battles in my innerverse, and then also witness it exoterically, see what's going on outside in the world, because it's just a reflection, right? So, and then it said, well, of course it said, not of course, but I mentioned it said, you're so beautiful, which means that I was the whole piece. I was finally come together. I was balanced. And the particular yoga that I was doing, again, it was just me fine tuning, and I was doing sun salutations, and it brought everything into one perfect balance, which is beauty, which is harmony. And I was like, well, let me go into meditation. And again, this is very like a rant or event, kind of more like a story, not necessarily a lesson. So I went into meditation to go deeper and to really understand more about soteria and wholeness. I already know what it means on the surface, but I just like to go deeper into things. And what I found was the message that Christ was bringing, the one that we call Jesus, was bringing the message of balance. He was bringing a message of wholeness. He was bringing a message of the perfect union of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And what made it synchronistic for me was I was watching Selena Moo, and Selena Moo is an earth keeper, and she's wonderful. She's like Mama Moo. She's beautiful. And she had just recently talked about the same thing. And I'm like, well, if she's mentioning it and I'm experiencing it in meditation, so this yoga, which I already knew yoga did, is really bringing me closer into my divine union with the masculine and the feminine. But then I began to wonder why this wasn't pointed out before. Like, I've been doing yoga for years. This isn't new. So why is this coming out now? Why is why is my higher self now saying soteria? So that's when I had to go from the internal to external and look at the time that we're in now, the month of August, and then look at the different spiritual wars that are happening right now in the astral realm, in the emotional bodies, and in the spirit realm. And our biggest battle is between the man and the woman, the masculine and the feminine, because it's the woman's time. The woman is rising, and as she rises, she's coming out of fear, she's coming out of anger, she's coming out of guilt, and she's slaying. Like, she's like, off with your head, men, off with your head. Especially those who have a very patriotic mind. And then we have the patriarch, whose system is collapsing. That shit's out of here. Like, that shit's gone. By the end of the year, patriarch is dead. And they're kind of holding on. They're like, no, we don't want to leave yet. We want to stay here. Do not let this feminine energy rise. And so when I say feminine energy, I'm not meaning necessarily man, woman. I'm meaning the character of the person. So the divine masculine, well, let me not say divine, the patriarch is more so, the toxic patriarch is more so controlling, forceful, manipulative, about capitalism, stepping on others to get ahead. It makes the woman submissive. She's not an equal. And he's like, king of the jungle, hear me roar. To me, I equate the patriarch, toxic patriarch, with a very dominant person who has a strong ego, a negative ego. And the divine feminine is more so the compassion, the heart, the leading with love, the leading with gentleness. And unfortunately, we've been conditioned to believe that to be a strong leader or to be a strong person, you have to be strong in your masculine brute, get her done. When all actuality, the strongest leader is the leader that rules with compassion and rules with love and gentleness. So, anyway, my point. Let me get to it. Sorry. So, the month of August, we are gonna experience some things in August. And if you are in tune spiritually, then you're gonna be completely aware of these things. If you're not in tune, then you probably will just think you had a really crummy month that adds to this crummy year. So basically, this month, the keepers of this world are shaking things up. Shake, 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 shake. And they have to shake it up so much and to create so much friction, to create so much heat, so that the deeply rooted shadows, the deeply rooted negative things become uprooted. So they're shaking, and they've been shaking the whole year, and that's why we see the year that we've seen. But as they're shaking, what's happening is the roots of these beings are coming up, and they're coming up very strong, and they are attaching to primarily women. And so it's so important, especially for the woman during her rise, because as something rises, you have things that want to attach to it, like, oh no, she's finna leave me, or oh no, she's about to go, let me grab her and yank her back down, or I don't want her to leave yet, let me grab her. So this is what's happening, point blank, plain and simple. So this month, especially for women, we have to surround ourselves in what some people would call the Merkabah. And we should all be doing the Merkabah meditation daily, just to kind of give us that extra protection, that extra body around our auras, to make sure that we're not penetrated, because it's very easy to be a casualty of these wars that are going on right now, and you not even know why. Like, something is happening to you, something is happening to your body, something is happening to your finances, something is happening to business and family, and inadvertently it's just a casualty. Everyone is not going to make it through this purge. So thoughts are living things, and I say this all the time. And the best thing that the divine masculine can do for the divine feminine, and excuse me if I'm rambling, because again, like I said, I didn't really take a lot of notes. This is just me kind of just going. So before I get into what the divine masculine can do, the best thing that we can do for ourselves is align within. And yoga is difficult to do, but it's one of the best things that you can do, because it's an automatic union. And I always tell people, the mind that works out isn't the mind that can bend. So if you are a meathead and you're going to the gym every day and you're lifting weights and you're doing, and you're running, your mind is just like that. Your mind is muscly, your mind is meaty, your mind is grunting, your mind is stiff. But the person that does yoga has a mind that can bend, is flexible. If that spine is flexible, the mind is flexible. And we're at a point to where everyone should be able to go to those higher and lower realms. Everyone should be able to. You should be able to move through the realms, and then come back into center. And the only way that I know to do that, to keep that mind flexible, is through yoga. Coming into one, you're going to align everything within. So that's the first thing that we can do, especially men, because men right now are the woman's protector, especially the melanated woman. You guys are our protectors. So if you're out of balance, then we don't have a shield. We don't have anybody there to protect us. And so, like I was getting ready to say, thoughts are things, words are things. So sending thoughts of love, sending thoughts of protection, sending thoughts of wholeness to a person, to a woman, will cover her more than you ever know. Just calling her by name, first and last name, calling her out by her government name. And then saying, you know, she's whole and perfect. She's divinely protected. She's this, she's that, da 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 da. You cover her family. That's the least you can do. But if you're not balanced, then the very thing that's attached to her is going to come for you. And that's just what it is. And what these entities, these beings are doing, they're looking for weak spots in the DNA chain. And it could be something from centuries ago that's embedded in the DNA chain that they will lock onto and then make that gene express itself in your body, in your mind, in your family. And so the divine masculine I gotta start being divine. I know me myself personally, I could use some covering. I could use a divine masculine outside of my family that calls me out by name and protects me. And not in a, oh, I'm trying to get with her, or oh, I want to be with her forever, or none of that. But someone who sees my works and see the direction that I'm trying to go in a positive way, especially with these children, in a positive way, and wants to just cover me. I mean, that's freaking rock star. And the reason why you don't do it out of the sake of love, or you do it out of the sake of wanting this person to be with you, is because you don't even, number one, you don't even know, if you haven't taken their chart and aligned it with yours and see how it affects your health, see how the union affects your business, see how it affects your family, then you shouldn't even draw anyone to you like that. You should let that, love part of it be organic, and just put the intention or the desire, oh, I really would like to, see what's good with so and so. If it's in the divine will for me and her, let us align at the divine time. Okay? But it's never like, let me focus on this person. Oh, I love you. Oh, come to me. Oh, this, oh, that. We don't do that, because that's emotional manipulation. And let's get back to that, emotional manipulation. Another thing reason why the divine masculine needs to get their ish together is because, again, we do need that covering. Women do need that protection. We do need those words spoken over us. But if it's done in a way where, again, is manipulation, where it's not honest, it's deceit, it's a lie, it's a whole damn lie. Not only is that divine feminine having to fight whatever else sees her light, whatever else sees her elevating, she also then have to fight your thought forms, which are living things. Living things. I don't know how many times I've come across these energies or these entities from my friends who don't mean any harm, but just don't understand what they're doing. Don't understand how one eensy-beensy lie or an omission of something causes me and other spiritual women to have to go into battle. And again, you don't know where that is hitting that person. It can hit them in their mind, their throat, the throat chakra, their heart, their sacral, their business, their finances. And that person can all of a sudden become ill, or all of a sudden get into a tragic accident. And it's because a lot of times they're just fighting crap from the people around them, their own people, their own tribe. And so we need divine masculine. We need stellar masculine. And when I say masculine, I don't mean just men. So if you're a woman and you're dominant in masculine energy, then come on, miss, step your game up. We need you. August is not going to be a month to play with, especially for those who are in tune. If you're not in tune, then you're going to walk around like it's whatever. So, how do we get to this place of being more whole or more divine? Ooh, and I'm getting chills. Ooh. How do we get there? Well, it's things that you ain't supposed to do, and things that you ain't supposed to say, that you've been doing, you've been saying, you've been watching, you've been thinking, you've been drinking, you've been eating, and you just ain't gave up those habits. You haven't done a paradigm shift. Primarily, when it comes to spirituality, the first gateway of going into this is this. What's coming in, what's going out. This is discipline. And a lot of people can't get with the vegan route. A lot of people can't get with the vegetarian route. And I get it. Let me tell you, it's not an easy feat. But in order for you to ascend and really get your wholeness, you may have to go through a period of not eating certain foods. And it's not a forever thing. It's not a lifelong thing. But you may have periods where you have to go through a purification process. And it's not easy. So a lot of people see me now. I'm probably about 25 pounds lighter than anybody's ever seen me. People may think, oh, is she not eating? Or even today, somebody was like, oh, you look anorexic. Like, okay, really? But I know internally what I'm pushing through. And I know that if I eat certain things, that those energies, those beings are going to lock on to certain energy centers. They're going to lock on so they can feed. But if I eliminate something from my diet for X amount of time, not only do I eliminate the disease, like ain't no disease coming up in him. Not only do I eliminate the disease, I also elevate. And a lot of people want to know, well, how do you get here? And how do you do this? And how do you do that? That's how. You do what's needed. You go through your purification process. And you don't worry about, as a woman, what you looking like. You go through the process and you get her done. And I tell you what, like, I am slim, but I'm very toned and I'm fit. I don't look sick when my clothes come out. I'm just small. And when that time comes for me to rebuild, and this is how you know when it's time to rebuild, those businesses start popping out. Those ideas begin to pop out. The money starts rolling. And that's how you know, like, oh, this weight finna come back. Oh, I'm finna come back and I'm gonna blossom. I'm gonna bloom. But if you don't go through the purification process to get all of that crap, which is your crap, all of that stuff from your DNA, if you don't get it out of you, then you're going to just be in a circle, running a rat race. And this is the purification process and the eating and all of that. This is especially important when you are dealing with subtle energies. So if you have this thing that when you are sitting, you do like this, and it's just automatic. You just do it. Or you have a thing where you're always kind of twirling your finger and you doing like this. And you don't know, man, when I sit down, I just twirl my finger, I just shake my leg. A lot of times that's negative energy. It's anxiety, it's depression, it's something that you're skirting from. And what spirit would try to do is it will magnify that to the 10,000 million power. to get you to get to the root of it, examine it, uproot it, get on with your life. But if you don't know yourself enough, and if you're not in tune with yourself enough to really even note that you're doing, you ain't even studying yourself. You don't even know yourself in numbers. You don't even know yourself in numerology. Then you ain't gonna get there. And when you have times like the month of August, your ass will get devoured and you won't even know. And you'll fall back into the same thread that your family's been going through for years. So, and I got chills all over. Because, again, it's things out there that know who you are. They know your name. Know my name. Hell, they be saying my damn name. And even as I speak right now, I can hear things that ain't happy with what I'm bringing. Not happy with what I'm saying. So again, to my friends, I call y'all out by name. If I know your real name, I call you out by name. And a lot of y'all energies I do pick up. And a lot of y'all energies I do have to kind of say, hey, not today. But now is the time, especially the month of August. Then again, really honestly, the rest of this year, you want to develop a ritual of getting up, maybe doing your Merkabah meditation, going into some stretching. You don't have to be full out yoga, but going into some type of stretching, and then going into prayer. Going into prayer, calling people out by name. Even if you just do that part, one day out the week, pick one day where you just call people out by name. Call them out, and you speak love and you speak light. And as you do that, you begin to elevate. And the number one way to keep them things off you, gratitude. Just be grateful. Because they can't go where you're going. You see, poverty and lack can't go to an abundant realm. Internally, prosperity in here, it can't go there. It has to stay down where you eliminate your waste. But I almost start preaching. So I'm gonna hop off this thing before I really get into where I'm preaching and kind of talking at y'all. I really hope you guys got something out of this. If it didn't make sense, if it didn't flow, my humble apologies, but it's just something that I've been meaning to put down since I made the video the other day. I'm trying to make sure I have everything. Yeah, that's everything. So as we do, I'm gonna close out here, go into this last part of the year. That's gonna be like that. You want to make sure that you have your upper Egypt, the corona, crowned. And you want to make sure you have your lower Egypt crowned. Okay? And if you don't know how to crown it, you need to research on how to crown yourself up here and up here, especially at the bottom. Because they're going to, especially at the bottom. So again, this message isn't for everyone. It's only for those who have a higher level of understanding, a higher level of consciousness. Okay? Love y'all. Peace. See y'all next time. Ashe.